Hi guys, it's Jamie here and welcome to another video. So before I get started, I just wanted to show you this awesome hoodie that I got. It's my favourite colour at the moment and it even matches my phone case, which is super geeky of me, I know, but I love, and it matches my wall colour as well. I don't know if you can quite see it on there, but anyway, super happy about that. So on to the subject of today's video, and I'm going to be telling you about how I set my fitness goals for this year and a bit about my exercise routine. So before I get started, I just wanted to say that I have never always been a physically active person. I've always loved walking as opposed to getting the bus or getting the train. If I could walk, I would always do that. And I did enjoy cycling, but I hated any kind of competitive sports. So when we did PE at school, I absolutely hated anything which meant that I was up against another person and kind of had to, prove myself. And my mum and dad were never very encouraging in that sort of aspect. I think they were just happy with me being happy. So they didn't encourage me to play football or anything like that. They could just see that I hated it. And even, swimming lessons I hated as well, purely for the competitive aspect as well. So I'd always wanted to do sports where I was able to do something without being compared to somebody else. Basically, that's the main thing. So I did yoga at home, so I'd look up workouts online and use that sort of thing. And when I did start doing Pilates, it was off YouTube videos so that I didn't have to go out to a class and kind of compare myself to other people again. And basically, my parents were somewhat confused about how I got my energy or my focus to actually start physical exercise. So I guess it didn't start for a little while. I did yoga at university, but as I said, that was on my own. And then I actually started going to kickboxing classes. So this was several years ago, sort of maybe 8 years ago, with a friend who encouraged me to go with her as a partner so that we could do it together. And that was when I first started getting interested in doing classes with other people, I guess, and realising that it actually made me feel pretty damn good doing exercise, and it didn't matter so much being in a group with other people. So I did do that for a little while and then stopped. When I started doing Pilates, that was in an effort to try and do a bit more exercise again. And how I started doing it, as in on a regular basis and making sure that I was doing physical exercise every day, was at the time I was following Pilates, and she was doing these workout calendars where for every day of the month she would tell you what you had to do on your exercise plan. So it would start off, and you could either do a beginner's one, or if you've been doing Pilates videos for a while, she had like a more advanced version. And it started off with maybe 2 or 3 videos a day, building up towards the end of the month to doing 4 or 5 videos a day, and it would be a mix and match of short videos on different muscles that you could work, so upper body or abdominals and legs, that sort of thing. So for me, I'm really good at doing stuff when I force myself to do it. In other words, if somebody tells me that as part of my job I have to do this certain thing, my brain just says I have to do that, whether it's quite a hard task. Yes, it will annoy me somewhat, but I'll make myself do it. Same with exercise. If I've got a calendar where there's basically someone in the background there telling me that I have to do that, I will do it. So I've always been a follower of rules and stuff like that, anything where it's like, don't put your feet on the seats on the train, I would never do that. Or don't beep your horn after 8 o'clock in residential areas, all that sort of thing. I would just follow. So that exercise plan was fantastic for me because it told me everything I needed to do. It took all that effort, all that decision-making process out of it for me, and I was forced into doing it. So that was how I started doing it originally. And this year, even though I hadn't been following those workout calendars for many, many years now, that whole process of how to get into it was kind of stuck with me. So this year, I decided that I was going to start weight training again because I wanted to build on a little bit more muscle. And I wrote myself a little weekly plan, which you can kind of see. I've done a new one recently, and on it I wrote for 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday, that I was going to do weights. And in my head I'd said to myself that I was going to do it for an hour at a time. If I did any longer, that was great, but I had to make sure I did a minimum of an hour. And I went online and researched loads of beginners weightlifting exercises that I knew I'd be able to do in the comfort of my own home. Because again, I didn't want to throw myself into a gym straight away, knowing that I might get flashbacks to the competitive days of sporting and hate going straight away. So I said, okay, make it into a habit, make it something that you do at home. And obviously for me, because I managed to give up my office job and I'm now teaching Pilates, I do have the luxury of more time to do that. So I basically didn't set a specific time for when I was going to do the weightlifting, but I did say I had to do it for an hour at some point before I would start teaching, because most of the time I teach sort of in the afternoon to evening. So it's a similar thing, you know, something you can do when you're working. You could either say that you're going to get straight home from work and do an hour, whether that means you drive straight to the gym. If you drive past the gym on your way home, that's the perfect way to get into that habit forming. Just say to yourself that you're going to go. Once you're there, you know, I know it sounds a bit strange, but it doesn't necessarily matter what you do straight away, because you're starting to form the habit of going to the gym, being in that gym environment. So for me, that's why I looked up loads of beginner exercises, because I knew it was something that I'd be able to do comfortably and wouldn't be worried about using too much heavy weight or needing any fancy equipment. So I got myself into the habit of doing it. I used a website called bodybuilding.com to look up loads of basic exercises, and you can filter them. There's like a big directory of exercises that you can select based on the type of equipment you have or the muscle group that you want to work and that sort of thing. Really, really good tool, so I'll put that link in the description below. So basically, for the first month in January, that's what I did. I decided Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I was going to do my weights, and I would do that every single week, no matter what. And at first, I wasn't bogging myself down with making sure that I did every single body part during the week. I was focusing on my upper body because I knew that that was a place that I wanted to start working on immediately, because I've always felt that my upper body strength was a little bit lacking compared to everything else. So I didn't want to overload myself with too many things, such as, you know, doing a back day, then a leg day, then a bum day, then a bicep day, you know, that sort of thing. Because I knew that I would probably feel very tired in the beginning, because I didn't have a lot of muscle on me, to be honest, at the start. I was very, very slim. That was another reason for me wanting to start doing weightlifting specifically, so I could add on some muscle bulk. Pilates doesn't give you muscle bulk, it gives you that lengthened, lean, toned muscle, but nothing that lifting heavy things will give you. So that was another reason to sort of decide on the strength training aspect, because I still do Pilates anyway, and that's become part of my weekly habit now, because I obviously teach it, I know what I'm doing, and I just know what I kind of feel like I need. So now that it's March, in February, once I'd gotten that habit set of doing those same kind of mixture of arm exercises 3 times a week, I then could add in a new thing that I was going to do, which was adding in lower body exercises on those other 2 days that I wasn't working out originally. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would do a bit of abs, legs, and glutes. So I found it easy to add that in, because I was starting to get a bit stronger and was feeling that I could do more. My fitness levels were improving a bit, and I decided, okay, let's add in these other 2 bits, then I'll be working out for 5 days a week, and then I can use my weekend as my recovery time to just totally relax, let my muscles recover, and it really worked for me. So what I would say is you need to set up one habit first. Once you've got that one habit set up, so whether that is stopping off at the gym on your way home from work 3 times a week or 5 times a week if you could manage that, once you've got that set in stone, then you can start adding in something else, whether that is that you want to get up earlier or go to the gym at the weekend as well, something like that. So now that it's March and I've got this routine set up, I can feel a little bit freer to play around with what I want to do. So now I've changed it a bit so that I might do triceps and back on one day, and then biceps and shoulders the other day. And then another day I might switch it up a bit and do triceps and chest, or back and shoulders and chest, and kind of mix it up, because now that I've gotten used to the exercises, I know how long they take me to go through, and I know how strong I am and what weights I need for each one, and can fit them in, kind of mix and match them. Same with the leg exercises as well. So I've not been working legs consistently for as long as my upper body, but I've got a good repertoire of exercises that I know I can do at home safely, and I've got a bit of a routine with that as well, so I can mix and match stuff depending on how I feel. So I'll tend to focus more on glutes one day and then do a lot more leg stuff the next day. Still a little bit of each, but you know, one day I might do a lot more focus on the quads and then the glutes the next day, just so I'm not totally overdoing one muscle group a couple times a week yet. Because as I said before, I don't want to overdo it and then sort of get too tired, and I need to let my muscles recover as well. That's another important thing to factor in if you're starting working out for if you've never done it before, is that you do need to allow time for your body to recover as well. So I've also set in stone my heavenly day of doing nothing at all on Sunday. Doesn't actually have anything to do with God, unfortunately, but that's just, I decided a Sunday was going to be the day that I didn't do anything at all. So that's when I rest and recover, and tend to take a bit of a break from my strict diet that I eat, and eat, you know, some more cheap foods basically. So that's what my fitness goals kind of are. As you may have noticed, I've not included the word cardio in there at all, and because at the moment I'm in more of a muscle building phase, I want to put on more body weight. Although I do combine some exercises that are more cardio based, I haven't been doing daily cardio as much as I used to. But although, you know, I'm not saying that cardio isn't important, it is very important, but I've just been toning it down a little bit. So I've not been doing intense cardio sessions for like half an hour to an hour every day. I've just been adding in little bits to keep that little bit of fat burning in there a little bit, but because I want to build bulk, I want to make sure that I'm focusing most of my time on lifting heavy things to get that muscle building. So that's a little bit about that. If you've got any questions, or you know, you maybe want to know a little bit more about what I'm actually eating, because I am going to do a video on that at some point, leave any comments or questions below. If you do want to follow what I'm doing and eating daily, then follow my Instagram, which is Jam Pilates Life, where I upload every meal that I eat during the day, apart from all the ugly foods that are just not pretty enough for Instagram. And yeah, if there's any videos that you might like to see from me, then also leave them in the comments below. And I guess I'll see you soon for another video. Okay, bye!